Look, have mercy on me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn. Gabe, what's up? How you doing?
Nothing much at all, brother. Just trying to brave the elements. Up here at the beautiful 92.9 studios because my house, we're having Wi-Fi connection issues. So
Again? That's like
always, man. And it bothers me. You know, I go through Xfinity, and I've just this past week it's been just miserable. I don't know what's going on. I had it out for like 48 hours over the weekend. So I wasn't able to get on my connect. I had to use my personal hotspot on my phone. I had to run down that data.
Where'd you go this weekend? 48 hours.
What?
You said you were gone for 48 hours, or you didn't
No.
have Wi-Fi
I said the
for 48 hours.
Wi-Fi was gone for 48 hours. The
Oh, you said
Wi-Fi made a
you were
disappearance.
gone for 48 hours.
No, I was not gone for 48 hours. Although I want to take a vacation soon. Taking a vacation in April. I'm going to Curacao in April with some friends. So that'll be a fun time. You never heard of Curacao? One of the Caribbean islands, real close to South America. So there's that. But you said you went to, ever since you told me last week on this here podcast that you went to the beach, I've been wanting to take a vacation.
You're craving it now.
Yeah, I really am. I really am. I need that therapeutic release. I need the sand in between my toes.
It's nice. It's perfect.
Yeah, what's happening with you though, brother?
Oh, nothing. Oh, you talking about getting away? What are you doing on April 12th?
April 12th.
Yeah, you want to go see Tommy Buns in Nashville?
Is that what you're doing?
I don't know. Maybe I've been shopping it around, see if I had any takers.
Okay, I mean, just send me details. What the plan is? Maybe.
$65 tickets for Tom Segura.
Okay, I think I'd be in for that. I think I'd absolutely be in for that.
It sounds like a great time, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm trying to get Michael on the hook.
Oh God.
Right.
Yeah, but he had a child, brother.
Exactly.
I mean, he just the child is very young. Okay, hard for him to get away.
2 months. That would be 3 months by the time that show rolls around.
That's the weekend of UFC 300.
300. Yes, it is. It's correct.
Yeah.
Action-packed
weekend.
Yeah, it would be. Did you not do anything this weekend? Nothing. You don't have anything of.
I watched a. I think
ton of college basketball.
This is the actual the scientific way of saying it. A metric ass ton of basketball. That's what I did this weekend.
That was it.
I didn't leave I was at my couch or my neighbor's couch the entire weekend watching basketball.
It's not bad.
And betting on basketball. But
how did that go?
My problem is I chased two upsets in particular that did not happen. I chased Michigan State over North Carolina, right? That was the first one.
Yeah.
And then I chased Oregon, and neither of them came through. Although Oregon was a 2 OT thriller.
Double overtime.
I get that. But neither of them came through for me. So I bet basketball, but not very well. It was very chalky. It was chalky as hell this weekend.
It was. I was going through the whole weekend earlier, just kind of checking everything out, full overview, and I was like, man, this is really, really chalky.
Let's see. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but we have Sweet 16 teams. East, 1, 2, 3, 5 seeds. West, 1, 2, 4, 6. South, 1, 2, 4, 11. 11 NC State. Midwest, 1, 2, 3, 5.
Yeah.
And then I have my favorite stats because we've gone after metrics before. I think usually we go after the net because the net's weird.
Right.
But KenPom killed it this year. If you've been seeing sort of the Sweet 16 and how it shook out, 13 of the top 14 in KenPom are in the Sweet 16. And even if you did that before this tournament, so pre-tournament KenPom rankings, 12 of the top 13 are in the Sweet 16.
It's pretty dang good.
So we go after the metrics a little bit, but they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. The analytics tell a story.
They do. But yeah, I watched a little bit, not as much as you. Definitely didn't get that much in. It was a pretty busy weekend. Birthday was Thursday. The boy's getting old.
Okay.
And so,
that's my pet peeve, but I'm going to let it go. I've talked about it being my pet peeve. You're
I know
not old.
I say it.
You're just not. You're not.
I say it to make you angry.
People turn 25. They're like, I am so old. It's like, oh, you got a lot of life to live. You're fine.
26.
What? I'm not. I wasn't saying directly to you. I was talking about people at large.
People in general. I thought it was a shot at me. So Thursday night, chilled at the house, nothing crazy. Friday night, I think we had like 15, 20 people over at the house, hung out, chill. Saturday, date night with Anna Ruth. Went to Andrew Michael's Italian Kitchen. Big time shout out. God, so good.
I need to go to Andrew Michael's
so
Italian.
good,
I still haven't been. And I hear I'm missing out heavily.
You absolutely. I mean, dude, it is wonderful. Shout out to them. That's like our favorite spots for dinner. Like, let's just pick one of the Andrew Michael's restaurants. Boom, we'll go, and it's going to be wonderful every time.
Yeah,
and it is. We loaded up too. Like I think I'm still full from Saturday night. We got 2 different appetizers, 3 different pasta dishes, and just kind of went to town all over the place.
Sounds like a good time, bro.
Dude, it was
sounds like you had a great weekend, man.
I did. Then yesterday was pretty chill as well. So birthday weekend is gone. Thank the Lord. I'm not a center of attention type of fella, as you guys know. So having things surrounding me is not my favorite thing in the world, but it's gone, and I get another year of not having to worry about being the center of attention and people telling me happy birthday and what do you want? And
isn't that, man? And I don't mean to make this a big thing, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Do it.
Even like for Christmas too. It's like, what do you want? It's like I don't want for anything. If I want something, I'll go to the damn store and get it.
Yeah.
Like I want $1 million.
Can you do that?
If you can facilitate that, hell yeah. I can't do that for myself right this second.
Right.
But I don't I don't have any like little wish list. I have everything I need. I'm good, man. No, I'm a content person for the most part.
Me too. And I'll take you're probably pretty similar. I'm not a very materialistic person anyway. So when people ask me what I want, I'm just like,
so you're not like, I want a plain Jane Rolex.
Right.
Come on, give me,
Right.
You're not there's nothing that I could really, I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm not just like sitting on my toes waiting for my birthday or Christmas and like, oh, give me this. This is what I have to have. I'm like, that's not me. And I know
Taylor's so good at it though. She knows exactly what, like, she has it ready. She has like a list ready.
Does she really?
Whatever I have. Not like, usually
not literally, but like if you ask her, she can come up with something.
She can come up with something. Yeah.
I'll sit there and contemplate
I can't
for days.
I'll just wait till you ask me the second time and then ignore you then too.
Yeah. I usually like, you keep asking me and I can't come up with anything. I'm just at a loss when it comes to people asking me, what do you want?
What'd you get though? What did you get? Anything nice?
Anna Ruth got me some. Have you ever heard of Free Fly?
Yeah. Clothing.
Yeah. She got me a like Free Fly, not like a hoodie, but like the lighter shirts with the hoods on them.
Yes.
Not like a Nike type shirt.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. She got me one of those, and she got me Free Fly shorts, both super fire. And
probably
then,
really short, inseam short, knowing you. She knows what you like, so
she knows me.
Yeah.
And they're for her too.
They probably fit, dude. They probably fit.
They're not literally for her.
No, they probably fit her. That's where I'm going with this.
No,
I know what you're saying.
I'm saying these legs are.
But they probably fit her too, knowing the shorts you wear.
That's fair. And then she got me tickets to see Charles Wesley Godwin in Oxford, May 5th, which I don't know if you know who that is, but
I don't. But
big fan.
Well done.
Kind of folky country music. But yeah,
not really
big fan. No,
good.
It's not. I know we're very different in our music taste, but yeah, that's on May 5th. So she killed it. She knocked it out of the park. Also got me a water bottle, which hey, it's fine.
I was having so many conversations. I had a conversation about these damn cups. I don't know about Anna Ruth, but Taylor has like 2 or 3 freaking Stanleys at this point, and they just
She has
go out.
She has a Stanley and an Owala, and she uses both.
My biggest issue with the Stanleys is they're a nuisance. They're so big.
They're too big.
They're way too damn big.
They're
And it's like,
practical.
why is this the popular cup?
Well, they're not
Taylor is a
practical.
little, and it's like this is. If I filled this with water, you could use this as a weight to work out with.
Yeah, and also they're like I don't know. Have you seen what the Owalas are like? You've seen the Owalas, I'm sure.
It probably looks very similar to any other damn cup that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but the thing is with the Stanleys, like you drop that thing, that top is shattering water everywhere. The Owalas, they're closed top, so with the built-in straw, so they're okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of fired up about it. I really am.
About what?
About getting the water bottle.
Is it the Owala?
Yeah, it's an Owala. But here's why. I literally go through probably 7 to 9 bottles of water a day.
Okay.
So to be able to get something to replace that and the constant throwing them away, getting a new one, throwing away, getting a new one. And also, there's another thing I'm weird about. Like you get a water bottle out of the fridge and it's freezing cold. I can't drink a lot of water like that. I need like room temperature, a little chilled water. So I can get it in there without having ice in it or anything, and it's perfect. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. You're fired up about your cup. I'm happy for you and your cup, brother.
I never thought I'd be in that boat, but here I am. I actually got 2 water bottles for my birthday. I got a Brita water bottle as well.
Okay. So you're getting it purified. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good birthday.
Yeah, I hear
I'm glad
you.
people
I'm
know
happy
me.
and
I'm
happy
glad people know
belated
me.
as well. And I hope everybody in the comment section slaps the comment section, says happy belated to my dog Christian, 26 years young.
Young.
Yeah. Because he says he tried to say he feels old. Man,
That's just what you say. That's just what you say.
No, but you don't have to. I guess
No,
that's
but
the point I always make to you.
You try to make people feel better and be like, I feel old, but I'm in my prime. So
you think you're in your prime? Are you in the prime of your life?
In what way? Physically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm not, buddy. Tell you what.
I mean, you were a college athlete, so that's.
I have hooped the last 2 weeks. I ran 5 games 2 weeks ago and 4 games last week. The 5 games I ran literally on like the last possession of the game, turned my ankle and couldn't recover for like a week. It is just, my gosh, man. The recovery times, everything else, how sore I get. Felt like I got hit by a damn bus after I played those 5 games.
I'm kind of angry now.
Were you going to drive out to Madonna Learning Center? No.
I don't even know where that's
on
at.
a random Tuesday on Poplar. You were not going to drive out to Madonna on a Tuesday to come hoop with the boys. You weren't going to do it. That's too far for you. Okay, next time it happens, I'll try to get you the invite.
All I can say,
I go over there with Connor. Connor.
Yeah.
I go over there with Connor. I go to Parker Fleming. Go over there with Parker Fleming. A few other guys. Some guys you'd know. We've hooped with Parker in the past. You've hooped with Parker in the past.
Yeah.
So next time, I'll try to get. We'll get it squared away. And then you're just going to send me back a text. You're like, oh, damn, it's a 50-minute drive. I can't do that. I can't check that.
It's highly possible. It's highly possible. It's highly possible. It just feels nice to be wanted because I do recall the one time in the last probably 2 years that I've played basketball, I did invite you.
Yeah, true. It's true.
Fair. It's fair.
It's true. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Now, it is episode 71. You know what's special about that? That
is the collegiate number.
That was a playing number.
One
buddy.
Gabriel Kuhn.
What a time. What a time. 71. Episode 71. This is a good episode.
It is.
Good episode.
I need to look up something real quick. You keep talking, and then I'm
going to what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to reminisce about?
I don't know. What are you feeling?
I don't know. I mean, spring ball started for
let's talk about
football
that.
Team.
I can talk and I can talk and surf at the same time.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm excited to see what they look like come April 20th. I think there's only a couple questions about this team, right, at this point. And the 2 questions, we've talked about this. O-line, I think they've filled in the cracks there. Jalen Nichols was about to be a starter at South Carolina, but he tore his ACL. We'll see what he looks like. Trent Holler is likely going to be starting at center. He's a 3-year starter at Marshall. Keydrell Lewis, a starter at Louisiana Monroe, but we'll see what he looks like. So that's one of the questions. How do those guys fit in? And then my other question would be secondary. But everywhere else, just about, Christian, I think I feel really damn confident about where this team's at. Everywhere else, but the O-line and the secondary. But I think those are questions and not like negatives. You don't dock the team for that. You just have to see what they look like by the time we get to the end of spring, see who emerges, those types of things. But D-line, I think they're taken care of. Linebackers, I think they're phenomenal. I mean,
Agreed.
Chandler Martin and Javonte Mackey coming over from Arkansas State, I think that is going to be one of the best, especially off-ball linebacking duos in the AAC, if not the best. You have all the weapons you need on the offensive side. Mario Anderson Jr. as a running back, Sutton Smith at running back, Rock Taylor, Demir Blankenship, Seth Hennigan all coming back. But, this is a fun time to think about before games actually get played. This is a fun time to think about what's possible for this team. And I think there's a lot of things that are on the table.
I completely agree with you. I think they're nearly set everywhere. And even the two position groups that we both kind of share concerns, and I don't even know if concerns is valid at this point, maybe just questions about the offensive line and the secondary. They brought in a fair amount of talent in both of those position groups. It's not like we're sitting here, and this is why I'll go back to concern. This is why I'm not concerned about those position groups, because you look at what they brought in. There's competition. There's guys that have played a lot of snaps, made a lot of starts in their career, either at Memphis or at other stops. So I feel pretty confident about what they have. I don't think they have a lack of depth at either position group. I think maybe in the secondary, you can argue there's a lack of star power, but there's not a lack of guys that have played meaningful snaps at the collegiate level, and even mixed in younger guys, whether they be high school recruits from over the past couple of years or transfers from over the past couple of years that have yet to get in the rotation. I think there's a lot to really like about both of those groups. The offensive line, you look at what they brought in. Yes, I know they're losing McKylan Pounders and Jacob Likes, but you look at what they brought in, the center from Marshall. That's about as good of a replacement as you can find there.
I think, and the best thing about him is he already had 2 years worth of film and understanding of Tim Cramsey's offense. So for him to just step in it, know the calls, know the schemes that they're going to run, I think that will be seamless. But I have to see it, of course.
I completely agree. And you're losing someone in Jacob Likes who's played so many games for this team and meant so much to this team. And to replace him with someone who hasn't shown that, hasn't been in that position, that would be tough. I would be much more worried about that. But you look at Trent Holler, and I think you make great points on he knows this system. He's played a lot of ball in his career. And then you look at other spots on the offensive line and guys that they brought in, and it's hard not to be excited. Jalen Nichols from South Carolina, we talked about, was really fighting for a starting position there in the SEC going into last year. And rewind the clock to last year, Memphis brought in someone in a similar position in Xavier Hill, who in the spring was battling for a starting position at LSU, ultimately ended up having a very good year
at a couple different positions.
Yeah, and being liquid and going to multiple different positions. Isaiah Reed coming in from Louisville, another guy that was relatively highly recruited coming out of high school. Keydrell Lewis coming over from Louisiana Monroe. So on this offensive line, which before this past season had been a bit of a roller coaster, I think even with 3 starters leaving, which is tough, it's tough to replace 3 guys in one position group, especially if that position group only has 5 players. But I think this staff did as good of a job as they possibly could in bringing in guys that not only are going to compete with each other, but have proven that they can play at a high level and be good players no matter where they were before. So I love that there. And then in the secondary, you bring back basically the entire secondary, which do with that as you may. It wasn't a great group. wasn't a great group last year, but I believe on paper, the 2 highest transfers that they brought in, according to 247 Sports in the rankings, were Jaden Dennis and AJ Watts are 2 of the 3, and then Taj Rael from Old Dominion. So I think your 3 highest transfer recruits, other than Mario Anderson, are in the secondary. And so I think that patches that up even more. And yes, they, all those guys came from smaller schools, and we'll see how that translates. You kind of gotta throw that disclaimer out there. But these are guys nationally that are viewed as really high level transfers, and for Memphis to bring those into a position group that really hurt them last year is big. And we're talking about 2 position groups for this team that we're not 100% on, and the rest were sold on.
Yes.
And it's not even April yet. And that is, this is, you hate to say this stuff in the spring, but this is the best team that Ryan Silverfield has had.
Most talented
and
most talented meeting experience. And the thing is, like we've talked, I think I said something similar when we talked about Memphis basketball, but the difference is there's a heck of a lot of continuity and roster retention with this football program and what they've been able to do. I was having this conversation over the weekend, and I think it's hilarious when you actually like sort of put it into these terms. When we talk about the offensive skill group, Seth Hennigan, Rock Taylor, Demir Blankenship, Sutton Smith, Mario Anderson Jr. Obviously, they're at the top of the AAC. It's just not close.
No.
But like when you look at how not close it is, it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Frank Harris Jr. gone from UTSA. Somebody else could emerge, but we will see. And they lost their best receiver to Ole Miss last year, right?
And they've got a receiver this year that's his name's slipping me right now, but they've got a receiver that's leaving this year that'll probably go on late day 2, day 3 of probably day 3.
Cephas, right?
No, I think Cephas is the one that went to Ole Miss.
No, Cephas isn't the one. There's another guy that went to Ole Miss the year before. This Josh Cephas. I'm looking at it right now. Josh Cephas.
There you
caught
go.
For 1,100 yards. Tulane dealing with quarterback thing and like running back wise, they lost Ty J. Spears 2 years ago. They did okay with Mekhi Hughes. I guess he could be sort of in this conversation. Chris Brazzell ended up getting in the transfer portal and leaving and going to Tennessee. Like when you look at Memphis's skill position players, I think not only best in the AAC, but the group of 5. Like it's got to have the top spot. This team has to have the top spot in the group of 5 when it comes to skill position. They're so damn deep, and they have guys that do different things. Like when you look at Rock Taylor, he's the strong, burly, catch everything wide receiver. Demir Blankenship sees your speedster, get side to side, really bother you. Kobe Drake, I haven't even mentioned, but he's sort of a do-it-all across the middle, sure-handed type guy. Sutton Smith is your guy in the backfield, the lightning. Mario Anderson Jr. is your thunder. And then Seth Hennigan is a 4-year signal caller who's been doing this at a high level, and he was phenomenal last year. Like when we look around the country and we look at skill position groups, I don't think it's close. And the group of 5, Memphis is really outpacing everybody by a damn country mile. It really and I know that some people may think that's overblown at this moment. Just go look at some of these other skill position groups around the country at the group of 5 level. Memphis they're covered. They have covered all their bases.
Yeah, and then they're bringing in a 4-star receiver in Keondae Henry. We'll see what he can do as a true freshman. A couple of other transfers they're bringing in, Jair Shorter from Auburn, and then Jacoby Banks from Houston, who was flirting with 4-star status coming out of high school. So not only it's not just Rock Taylor, specifically speaking of the receiver position here, it's not only Rock Taylor and Demir Blankenship there with other guys that are proven that are coming back or have been on the team for a couple of years, but there's also a few guys that are coming in and could compete to get snaps. But I just truthfully and honestly think that the end all be all with this skill position group is Mario Anderson.
Yeah, what's that going to look like?
At what he did last year at South Carolina to SEC defenses We had this conversation when he first announced his commitment to Memphis. Funny enough, if you rewind the clock, we laughed about him including Memphis, I think, in his list of top schools maybe a week or two before he committed. But now with him being on board, like you look around the American and you look at the distance between him and all the other running backs in the conference, he could put together an absolutely massive year if this offensive line meshes the way that we think they have the potential to. And not only just him, but they have a thunder and lightning combination they have not had in several years, having someone who in Mario Anderson who can run between the tackles, but isn't even necessarily a quote unquote like thumper or plotter. And then Sutton Smith, who I still think he's only scratched the surface of what he can be. And I think that Mario Anderson unlocks his potential even more because we've seen it throughout football history. If you have a big grinder type running back that can, run between the tackles and he's, bigger, 225, 230 pounds, and he's breaking arm tackles and wearing the defense down, and then you put someone smaller and shiftier in like Sutton Smith, it makes his life so much easier, and he just hasn't had that. So I think this 1-2 punch combo at running back could be one of the more elite in the country numbers-wise by the time it's all said and done.
And I thought it was really fun in the bowl game to see Sutton and how they it felt like they finally made it a point to use him how he is supposed to be used. Now, I thought Blake Watson and him had a very similar skill set. I think Sutton's probably the faster guy, but get him the ball in open space, let him run drag routes, get across the field from the slot, throw him some screens, give him some off-tackle runs, mid-zone, wide zone, and that guy can get going. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they deploy them, though, because that's always been – because let's be honest, that has been – before Blake Watson, at least, let's say that, it has been kind of a little bit of a troublesome sort of mark or point in the Ryan's era is he tries to use a lot of different backs. And sometimes he doesn't know which guy to lean on consistently. But Blake Watson was so good that he sort of forced him to lean on him. I think both these guys have that potential, but I want to see how that actually plays out, who gets the sort of starting nods game to game. I think it'll be very game plan based on what they want to get done to an opposing defense. But that's going to be fun to watch.
Agreed. So before we take a break, Gabe, do we have any Memphis basketball to jump into?
I mean, kind of. Not really, but commercial appeal. Jason Munns reported that Rick Stansbury told the commercial appeal that he believes Penny Hardaway can guide Memphis to more championships, and he's committed to being here to help him do that. This isn't a surprise that Rick Stansbury's staying, but I think if you just sort of read through what this means as compared to years past is there's finally a little bit more staff continuity where Penny's not been able to have that in the past. To have his lead assistant stay for 2 or more years, that's just not been a reality. And to have Rick Stansbury here for another year, that's nice. Although I didn't really view it as a news story because this is something that I think Rick said about halfway through the year, that he was probably going to stick around and see this thing through.
Yeah, but I think we've heard similar things, and it hasn't necessarily panned out at Memphis.
And he is Slick Rick. I mean, he's Slick Rick after all. So who knows?
But it is nonetheless, like, even though it's not necessarily a huge surprise, it is good news that Memphis is retaining him, and Penny doesn't have to go out and search for another assistant. As we pointed to last week, Penny's focus solely needs to be on recruiting and building this team for next year, not having to worry about going out and finding another coach to bring in. And we know typically, much like he does with players, he likes to make splashy coaching hires. So then you got to go through that whole process and all the attention that brings of bringing in a high level or a big name coach. So I'm glad Rick's staying. I think it helps this staff and whatever team is on the floor for Memphis next year, whatever this roster is composed of player-wise, I think that helps them just getting the knowledge from a coach like Rick, and then also his recruiting ability is top tier. So keeping him,
he seems to be the I don't know, the balance book too when it comes to NIL funds. He seems to be a guy who knows how to divvy those up at least a little bit. He definitely seems to, from what I hear, he seems to be a big help for Penny Hardaway in that realm where he's out front talking to the collective, trying to get things spinning. And that's something that, with Penny Hardaway and the situation they're in right now, he needs to be focused on other things. I don't think he needs to be focused on how much money certain players are going to make. So having that taken off of his plate is nice, and that's big from Rick Stansbury.
Agreed. All right, Gabe, that's about it for basketball.
That's about it. Well, I mean, we're going to be like the recruiting will start getting going here once we get deeper into the NCAA tournament or out of the NCAA tournament. I think the recruiting wheels are going to start spinning, and hopefully Penny lands some early, or a lot early, so this team can be put together and understand each other by the time they actually hit campus. You don't have guys joining the team 11 games in.
Yeah, we're not going to go long without Memphis basketball news. That's just not how it goes. But this is just one of those weeks where it's pretty light. So I don't know about you, but we've went about 30-something minutes now. We're missing a piece of us at the moment. I mean, I don't know how you're feeling, but I kind of miss.
I haven't heard him yet. It bothers me.
I know. I'm kind of ready to get him in here. So we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of that break, we'll get Kenny in here. We know everybody is absolutely fiending for some Kenny Stubblefield. So quick break. We'll be back on the other side with Kenny and the Hot Three.
Everybody that's a fan of this basketball team, this city, this university wants nothing more than him to be the most successful coach we've ever had.
Yes, because we'd be winning games. And that's all I want is to win games.
Started 15-2. Everything was beautiful. Top 10. And then you go 7-8 down the stretch.
Like in terms of winning and losing, like I think he's earned himself a bad year, right?
I don't think anybody complained about the results of last year. Like everybody was pretty pleasantly surprised. I mean, outside of the fact that you were on the 8-9 seed line, like that was frustrating. But I think everybody was relatively happy winning the conference tournament, beating the number 1 team in the country. I mean, you're a blown call away from making the Sweet 16. I had no complaints about last year, especially I think being last year going into it, everybody thinking, this isn't an IT team. Like this team's they're not built to make a run or even make the tournament.
Sure. Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
I'm 44 years old, bro. Like I remember like real Tiger basketball, bro. Like when Tiger basketball was our shit and our only shit, bro. I struggle with knowing that I'm caping for Penny, knowing I'm not gonna say the foul shit. I'm not gonna question whether he can coach. I'm not gonna say they should fire him. I'm not gonna do none of this stuff. Right. I came in and said how I wrestle with that. Like I know I'm not being genuine.
There are some people saying fire him. Most people we're giving fair criticism.
Right.
We ain't saying fire him.
Ain't nobody saying it. And the only person that like you can say like is saying some wild shit is Jeff Calkins. Y'all niggas ain't blowing his Twitter up though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You come to me. Right? You know what I mean? It is killing me, bro. It is absolutely killing me. It's absolutely tripping me out. Like, and I'm older than all these dudes. Like I watch Penny play. Y'all know Penny from buying fucking shoes. You know what I mean? Y'all don't know nothing about Penny Hardaway, bro.
I'm trying to think what they want to say.
You ain't see Penny with the bullet in his foot? Kiss my ass. Like, what are y'all talking about?
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What's up, boys? Hey, listen, I've been in the background kind of doing my thing, listening to y'all. Listen, number 71. Christian, we do have some accolades we wanted to give out to Gabe for this being.
Because it's episode 71?
Episode 71. Gabe Kuhn's number was 71 on the football field. What are some of those accolades that we were discussing?
Do I have to say? I thought you were going to drop I have to drop my own accolades?
No, I'm
I have
talking
to
to
sound like a
Christian.
self-serving asshole now.
I just talked to I'm just asking Christian. Ask Christian.
Golly. All right, I'll drop them. You ready? All right,
Yeah,
first team all conference. That's where we start my senior year. 51 starts. Part of the most winning class in Memphis football history. How about that? There's that.
I think 3 of the top 5 rushing offenses.
I'm number 1 in y'all's heart. I'm number 1 in y'all's heart.
That's fair.
So there's that.
Is that right? 3 of the top 5 rushing offenses in Memphis history? Off the top of my head.
Two for me. I think 2. 2 or 1, because then after I left, there was like 2. Remember, 2018, the year after I left was 2000 and 1000. Patrick and Daryl.
That's fair.
So I think it's just 1 for me. But we listen. Won a conference championship, split of the conference championship in 2014.
Did not win a bowl game.
Was the runner-up in the conference championship.
Oh,
I did win 1 bowl game. One bowl game was won, and I won the fight. I didn't win the fight, but my team won the fight after the Miami Beach Bowl.
That's fair.
But
did you get any okay? We're going to go the hot 3, but I got a question to ask you. Did you get any pops in on the field during that fight?
Well, when I was playing, sure.
After the game,
I can't explain to you. I can't begin to explain to you how tired I was after that game. I usually would get like some reprieve in the middle of a half, but I played every single snap of that game through 2 overtimes. Do you take a gander? I'm going to set the over-under at 80.5. How many do you think we went over or under that amount of plays?
I think it was over.
I think it was over, wasn't it? 2 overtimes?
How over do you think it was?
I think it was like 90-something plays.
With the
102 plays in that game I played, and it was winter when we left Memphis, and we were in Miami for a week. And yes, we did drinking that week. We definitely drank. We were at the Fountain Blue, living it up. I was about as tired as I have ever been. I was dapping up the dude I played against the whole game, and I turn around, and Izzy's knocking Kai Nakua clean the hell out. Yeah, I was not getting involved in that fight, guys. It just wasn't going to happen.
I don't blame you. All right. That's great, man. Congratulations on all your accolades that you so willfully shared with us in this.
Can we also do this too, since it's about me? Can we point this toward Kenny real quick?
What's that?
Kenny is in all black. It looks like he's about to literally go like car hopping right after he gets done.
You've known me for years. You've known me for years. None of this surprises Christian right now.
I mean, number 2, and this is full disclosure. When he was off camera in that first segment, he had his hood on too. I mean, it literally looks like he's about to go. I mean, Slim Shady won.
Yeah, I was about to say, you are giving off huge.
But then, like, the hat pulled over your eyes too. You're about to go car hopping, and you're in a nice neighborhood for it, man. I'll tell you what, they probably have some good things in those cars out there.
Car hopping.
All right,
you're about to go
car
serve
hopping.
food,
Car hopping, or are we gonna go car
jacking?
Steal cars, car jacking.
Yeah, no, don't do either. Don't do either. I don't want you in jail. I don't need you behind bars, buddy. I think you're good where you're at.
You know, you are my emergency contact in my phone when I go to jail.
That's a mistake.
They call Gabe.
That's a mistake, buddy.
That's right.
That's a mistake.
All right, y'all ready? Let's get to this hot 3. Topic number 1. It is obviously the first weekend. It's over for March Madness. Obviously, I mean, this is one of my favorite times of the year. I love bracket tournaments. I just think it's so much fun. So many awesome storylines. I wanted to ask you guys, what are some of the biggest moments from weekend number 1 of March Madness?
You want to go ahead and lead off, Christian?
Yeah, I can. I'll give you my first one game I got to catch on Friday. Northwestern and FAU. And I know a lot of Memphis fans were happy that FAU lost, but that was a good game. Came down to the wire, overtime game, and then Ryan Langborg throws down 12 points in overtime. It was just incredible. Great performance from him. I know they got trounced in the second round, but be that as it may, because he played great in the first round, and that first game was a whole lot of fun to watch. Let me peruse some of the other ones. Auburn and Yale. That was a fun one. One of the bigger upsets of the weekend. Enjoyed that one. Let's see. There's so
I know
many
which one.
games.
You know which one I'm leading off with, and what everybody their hearts got stolen. Jack Golke, man, at Oakland, getting over top of the mighty Kentucky Wildcats. Now John Calipari is this buddy. I mean, is he going to make it out? Is he going to be coaching next year? He should be coaching next year. But it is what it is. 15 threes through 2 games, and they went to overtime in their second game. And that is the NCAA tournament record for threes made through two games. What's funny about him, too,
Do you know how many twos that he shot during the regular season? Kenny?
8. Oh, 8.
I have a wild guess. It's 8.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Ding, 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 ding.
Does that even make logical sense?
It sounds like North Texas it sounds like North Texas against Memphis this year.
308, I think 383 shots this year. I think he took 375 threes this year.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And only 8 twos.
That's awesome, though. That's like, because like the thing is about him, he's like 6'4", and he's kind of like, for a basketball player, kind of chunky in a way.
He can't jump at all.
He can't jump. He's decent off ball, but he has to have a screen, and he has to get use his pump fakes. And I don't know, man. It kind of makes sense in the fact that it's like he's a 5th-year guy who transferred from D2, from Hillsdale College to go to Oakland. And want to know the funniest thing about his time in D2? I think I saw David Cobb, my good buddy from CBS Sports, put this out. His first 2 years when he was playing at Hillsdale College, D2, he only averaged 5 minutes per game. And now he was just a flamethrower in the NCAA tournament. And he's got Reed Shepherd, who's a projected lottery pick, Rob Dillingham, who's a projected lottery pick on him, and he is just lighting them up. And, man, I saw, like, his NIL deals went crazy after that. Like, as soon as he left the damn court, he had a TurboTax deal.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
They're like, we have to get this, nerdy looking white guy so so you can trust him to do your taxes. And then he got a Buffalo Wild Wings deal too. So there's that. But man, he captured the entire first weekend. That was him. Yeah. That was all him.
You're right. No,
that was impressive stuff.
Do you let me ask you this. Do you guys still have to this day an irrational love of seeing John Calipari in Kentucky lose? Like, does it not just kind of like make your day a little bit when they lose?
Is it like, yes, I'd say any outspoken coach though that's getting upset, I feel that way about. Yeah. Like, I think for me, it's less about John Calipari and the way people may view him negatively in Memphis for leaving. Like, it's less about that and more about the fact that he's this outspoken coach just got outmaneuvered by freaking Oakland.
Yeah.
And not Oakland, California either. They're from like
they're up in
Michigan.
They're in Michigan, right? Like
they're
45 minutes outside of Detroit or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like that. Those are the storylines that are phenomenal. But I'll say this about Kentucky, buddy. 4 years. They missed the tournament one of those years. They lost to St. Peter's 2 years ago. Got knocked out by Kansas State, which I'm not even hating on them because Kansas State was phenomenal last year. And then they just got beat as a 3 seed by Oakland. Like, that's a crazy trend for that program.
Yeah.
Regardless of how high seeded they were, but that's insane.
Did you see all the tweets though afterwards from Memphis fans? Like, don't tell me anything about not playing well, not doing what's good, or whatever the words were they used. I was just like,
you're reaching. You're reaching really hard, man. If that's your take. If that's your take, you're just reaching way too far down into that bag.
I got a question for y'all real quick. Let's not spend a ton of time on this. Top 3 teams leaving the first weekend.
Oh God, UConn, Purdue,
Houston.
Oh, Houston kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies against A&M. Gotta say, 4 foul outs, and I don't know. Jamal Shedd is a stud though. I think my third, I am gonna reserve for. How about Iowa State? I'll go Iowa State as my third.
They're not bad. That's not a bad choice.
Solid. I think UConn and Purdue is going to be unanimous. So it's really the third. It's really the third team that is the difference. So I've got a couple. Duke was extremely impressive.
Yes, they
over
were.
the weekend. But to me, honestly, it might be Clemson, which is kind of wild. But
I thought Baylor was going to make a run to the Final Four. For them to get over top of them.
I did too. Jacoby Walter played incredible in the first game.
Clemson, though,
correct
me if I'm wrong. How I feel about them,
but
how I feel about them is they're going to be playing higher seeds for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah,
they need the other team to make mistakes because they won't. But if the other team plays a clean game, they will lose to a more talented team.
Yeah,
like that. They just rely on others' mistakes.
Yeah,
that's what I feel about them.
I'll give you. I mean, I'll give you some other ones too because there's a lot of teams that I like right now. I really like Marquette still. Tyler Kolek and Cam Jones.
Yeah.
It's hard.
They're a tough duo, man. They're tough, man.
Really, really good. And then San Diego State. They got close to UAB.
Okay.
Got close to UAB.
They beat the hell out of Yale, though.
But they smashed.
Who's that Leday kid? Who's that Leday kid? What's his name?
Jaden Leday.
I'm telling you.
Jaden Leday, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's
like
what?
He doesn't look like most basketball players, that's for sure.
He looks like a damn defensive end.
Tight
what really
end.
bothers
he should
me,
be a tight end. He should be a tight end, man. Definitely.
Yeah,
know what trips me out though? He's been playing basketball for 4 years. This is his 5th year. Never averaged more than 8 points per game.
It's wild.
21.
And now he's at 21.
Yeah.
And how many boards to go with that? 8.5?
I think it's 8.5. Yeah.
I remember he was a role player last year for the San Diego State team that made it all the way to the
It was Lamont Butler's team last year, and now it's
but he is just taken over, man. I like he's impressive as hell. But they do run into the rematch of last year's Natty against UConn. I'm sorry. Maybe they can make it. Maybe they can make it a game, but the fact that Donovan Clingan is going to be the main matchup for Jaden Leday.
Yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah.
Did you see him over the weekend against Northwestern? Holy hell.
Dude's ridiculous.
Like, not only can he move his feet on the perimeter, not only can he score around the basket and he has good feet down there with decent post moves, his rim protecting ability is crazy.
Yeah.
8 blocks against another Power 5 opponent.
Right.
Holy hell.
In the tournament.
Like,
I'm telling you, though,
that?
the only thing that's going to stop him
He almost had a triple-double with blocks, guys. 14, 14, and 8 blocks.
Like we know, most rim protection happens on help defense. So the question is going to be as they face off against a team like San Diego State and going up against Jason Leday, they run that offense through Jason Leday and
Jaden.
getting into Jason, right?
Jaden.
Oh. Sorry.
Whatever,
Sorry, San
same
Diego
thing.
State.
Same
For
idea.
all of our
Same
San
difference.
Diego State fans that are watching, I apologize for.
It's okay. I thought
but
Donovan
Jaden-
Clingan was black last year, if y'all remember that.
That's true. It's true. But it's going to be tough, man. Like, is he going to be able to get Clingan in foul trouble? Like, that's going to be a big deal. And
yeah,
you know, we'll see. But man, I'll tell you what. I was watching the. Did anybody else watch the Alabama Grand Canyon game last night?
I didn't
Did y'all
see
watch
it last
that?
night.
Grand Canyon.
It was the
holy,
most
dysfunctional nonsense I've ever seen in my life. What was that?
But it worked for a long time in that game, man. Like they had this kid, I think, a Scott Foster or Tyon Scott Foster or Grant Foster.
Grant Foster. Tyon Grant Foster.
Oh my gosh, this dude is like one of the most athletic, non-basketball playing dudes I have ever seen in my life. I put it in the Discord. I was like, he's the most athletic, non-basketball player since DJ Steffens. Like this dude is insane how he gets off the ground and can't play a lick of basketball, and yet it works, bro.
He had 29 points.
I know.
He can't play a lick. I know what I don't get about that team. They are gifted athletically, and they're big.
Yeah.
At Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And I know it's like Bryce Drew. Everybody knows Bryce Drew, and Bryce Drew's been around the block. Scott Drew's brother. Like maybe he can recruit a little bit better, but it's like, how do they get those dudes at Grand Canyon? No one, because none of these dudes were getting recruited by a whole bunch of other schools.
It was wild though, man. Like that game was crazy, and it was the most physically intense. Like just guys diving all over the floor, just crushing each other. But I'll tell you what, Gabe, and you've talked about him, and so is Christian for a long time. Mark Sears is a damn baller, bro.
He's a stud,
dude.
Alabama goes as he goes.
Yeah, man. And you look at that team last year, they had 3-point guards. They had Jaden Bradley, they had Javon Quinterly, and they had Mark Sears. And Nate Oates was like,
that's my guy.
The two of them.
Yeah.
That's my guy. And it's crazy because that dude is so good, man.
Real quick, though, back to Grand Canyon. Did you know they're the only college that's publicly traded?
No.
Like on the stock market? Yeah.
Did not.
You can go invest in Grand Canyon right now.
I love it.
Maybe you should.
How weird is that? They are literally a for-profit university.
Not bad.
It's not like they're like hiding in the nonprofit. They're like,
this is for money.
Yes. That degree you get, we make money off of that. Okay. But no, Alabama, listen, I love Mark Sears. I think Nate Oates is a good enough coach. But my God, it's just I can't trust him to win a big one. I just can't. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Yeah. And he's been to what? 3 Sweet 16 since he's been the coach. Like he's great.
Elite 8.
Yeah.
But when you get into these matchups against these more talented teams that are going to be more consistent, all he's going to do is say make shots. And if they don't make shots, they're going to lose. If they do make shots, they'll have a chance to win. I do think this matchup. Go ahead. I was gonna say I like Nate Oates. I don't trust him as a coach right now. Like I don't trust him as much as I should based on the track record he actually has put out there, which is very good. But there's something amiss with him. The adaptability, being able to switch your thought process in the middle of a game if some things are not open. He just doesn't have that. He'll just continue to say, hey, Mark Sears, get hot from 3.
I do think this UNC matchup sets them up well, though. I think the game against North Carolina is probably the 1 seed that I would say their style of play matches up or could be beneficial to them. I think they get mopped if it's Purdue, if it's UConn, if it's Houston. I think they get mopped.
You mean somebody who plays defense?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this game might be 120 to 119. Honestly, if UNC and Alabama make shots like they're capable of, this could be one of the most highest scoring games in Sweet 16 history.
RJ Davis versus Mark Sears is a badass matchup too, man. Whew.
Yeah, it is.
They're just going to keep throwing shots up. But all right, we need to move on.
Let's move on.
We've gone long.
All right, topic number 2 is NFL. There's NFL rule changes, and I'm going to let you guys kind of run with the rule changes, kind of tell me what's going on here. But there's been a bunch of NFL rule changes coming out of, is it ownership meetings? I guess they're having ownership meetings, and the Players Association they're agreeing to these things. The biggest one, and I think we've all kind of reacted pretty strongly to, is the hip drop tackle is now banned. And if everybody knows what that is, but Gabe, describe what the hip drop tackle is and why it's banned.
I'm glad you asked me because I have literally the NFL's definition of a hip drop tackle directly in front of me. You have to grab the runner with both hands and wrap the runner with both arms. And then B, you have to unweight yourself by swiveling and dropping your hips or lower body, landing and trapping a runner's legs at or below the knee. That's what a hip drop tackle is by their definition. That's now going to be a 15-yard penalty, and it will grant the opposition an automatic first down if you use a hip drop tackle to take a runner down. The other one was like, if you have one successful challenge, you'll get a third instead of getting
there's a couple other proposed ones out right now, but that's the big one.
The hip drop tackle is banned. It's a 15-yard penalty, and I'm gonna say one quick piece, give it to you, Christian, and then we'll go from there. It's just so hard to be a defender, man. There are moments where the only thing you can do to bring a guy down is a quote-unquote hip drop tackle. Yeah. When you're trailing a guy and trying to catch him from behind and he's running a 4-3, sometimes you have no other choice.
Yeah.
And it's just they're making it impossible to be a defender in this league, to make bang-bang plays, to tackle. I mean, Javon Holland, who's a safety for the Dolphins, put out breaking news, tackling is banned in the NFL. And it's like, I hate to say it, that's how I feel. I understand how it could lead to injuries, but it's a game of football. It's a sport of football. It's dangerous as hell as is. But I think you almost make it a little more dangerous, and you make it less the sport we know as well when you keep adding on things that limit a defender and how he's supposed to play.
Yeah, I think we're all for player safety and making it a safer game, but you can't do that and take away the integrity of the game and the competitiveness of a game, because you made the exact point I was going to make. How in the hell are you supposed to tackle someone if you're behind them without doing that? There's no other way to tackle someone.
You just have to grab their ankle and hope they fall.
Right. You have to clip an ankle, or you have to try to Superman jump on somebody's back and hope you fall forward. Like that. That's the only way to tackle if you're trailing. And I
basically hope your hips don't fall to the ground if you do that. If you jump and tackle somebody from behind, hey man, try really hard to let your head go first. Which is wait a second. Yeah. Your head's not supposed to go first. Right?
It's tough, because this is just one of those things that this is football. It's a tackle. It's legitimately what it is. And I understand that rule changes happen for player safety, but how many players are really getting injured because of this tackle? I know the Mark Andrews one is one that keeps getting brought up. Tony Pollard in the divisional round 2 years ago against the 49ers broke his leg because of it. So yes, injuries happen on this tackle, but that doesn't mean it's a dangerous play. Contrasting that with like a horse collar tackle, now that makes sense. I know a lot of people were injured off of that. It's just a very awkward motion, and it's not necessarily a tackle. It is kind of a last-ditch effort in yanking someone down. That's different from a hip drop tackle. That's just tackling someone from behind. That's legitimately all that is. It's using
tackle. That's what it is.
It's tackle. It's using your weight against their weight to bring them to the ground, which by definition loosely is tackling someone. So I know that the crazy thing to me is that it was unanimous from the owners. You would think maybe it's not surprising, but at the same time,
it shouldn't be surprising because they pay wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks. They pay all those guys, their skill players, a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And the way they see it is, I'm protecting my investment.
Yeah.
That's how they see it.
It's a business.
And that's I think that again, like, we can highlight problems with that type of view. But that's the only thing they see is dollar signs in front of them. They don't want to have, like, if CeeDee Lamb were to get screwed up by a hip drop tackle, Jerry Jones does not want that.
No. Jerry
Jones would be fully against that. Patrick Mahomes getting tackled like that. Brett Veach and Andy Reid would lose their mind if that were to happen. So,
so that's a negative one. One rule change I do like that they will start implementing in the 2024 season is they now have the option upstairs. I don't think it has to be challenged. I think they can automatically review roughing the passer calls, which we know were just such a
but still, that's still going to be eye of the beholder, though, right? It's like the pass interference reviews.
There's there's some that are so obvious that are called on the field. Pass interference, I think there's a lot more judgment to, but malicious intent and helmet to helmet, those things are so much easier to see on a replay. We could all see it watching from our home last year, and even the announcers are like, this is ridiculous. When certain hits are called roughing the passer over the last 2 years. So I know you'll have people that complain about, we're lengthening the game. If we lengthen the game by a minute and a half per game because of roughing the passer reviews,
just to get things right, I'm fine with that.
Just to get it right, I'm okay with that. So a couple other ones. I know they're doing the kickoff implement. I don't know if they're implementing it yet, but I know they're talking about it. They're not implementing it.
They're not going to implement it.
They turned it down.
It was the XFL style kickoff, right? Where you have somebody still kicking off from the 35, but there's a buffer zone between the offense and the defense. One thing that's interesting about that is like they're getting rid of the hip drop tackle, but the kickoff we have now is very, very dangerous. Right? I mean, it's less dangerous because it's a touchback every time.
Yeah,
but they've taken one of the most
kicks.
They've taken one of the most exciting plays and made it a nothing. I saw that like the XFL stats when they did this type of kickoff, 90% of the kickoffs were returned, and right now I think it was a league-wide low, ever record low of 21%.
Yeah,
of the kicks that get kicked to the kick return team are coming out of the end zone. That's sad. Yeah. That's really sad. But they didn't approve that one.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well that's about it for rule changes. Kenny, last one, and then we will get out of here.
Honestly, I've been really excited about talking about this one because, guys, just picture it. You walk into a media room, in comes walking this lady, and she sits down at the dais and gets behind the microphone, and she's got this crazed look on her eyes, and she is ready to go. And she comes out and she says, "I'm fed up." That's what Kim Mulkey did this weekend in the NCAA tournament. Guys, she's fed up because apparently the Washington Post has a reporter that is reporting, in her words, a hatchet job article, ignoring 40 years of great stories in order to highlight the really negative shit. All right?
Yeah.
Now, her whole goal in taking up her availability time was to not distract her LSU team from the tournament run. So congratulations, Kim Mulkey. You did that because guess what, boys? I want to.
Oh, we lost him. We lost him.
Did y'all think it was as hilarious as I did?
I found it hilarious.
Everything that went on.
I found it hilarious, man, because they're very strong words. Like by the end of it, she's like, not a lot of people are equipped to go fight against injustices like this, but I am. And she's like, thought she said something. Like she thought she was badass. So there were strong words. She was very scripted with it. It was like 4 pages worth of notes she was flipping through. And she screwed up a couple times. I will admit that if the Washington Post was going to publish this article like now, insane timing. Admittedly insane timing. Right as the NCAA tournament
Not after
starts.
she talked about it. Not after she talked about it during the daggum press conference. I'd have dropped that shit. Whoop. All right.
I get it. But here's the crux of her argument and why she's mad about it. She says that this reporter has been leading her former assistants astray by saying they've been in contact with Kim when they haven't, the reporter. She also said that this reporter has been trying to reach out for 2 years, but she has refused to talk to said reporter because she did not like the article that was written by that reporter about Brian Kelly, the now head coach for football at LSU. And then she said this reporter gave her a list of questions, said you have 24 hours to answer these questions before the game. She said that timeline was never going to work. What I'd say to her is, well, I mean, Kim, you've had 2 years.
2 years.
You've had 2 years to respond to this person. And they're a well-respected journalist at the Washington Post that have written a lot of good feature stories. I think I understand the point she's trying to make to a certain extent when she says, sometimes in this world we're publishing stories, telling stories, and we only tell it from one side, one particular point of view. But to me, I think that falls short too, right? Because it's like, I'm not, as a journalist or as a media member, I'm not required to tell both sides of the story. If one side of the story is just as true as the other, it's just different point of views. I can just tell it from that point of view. And if she wants all the positive stuff to be out there, it's like, as a college women's basketball coach, isn't the positive stuff like supposed to be your day-to-day life? You're supposed to take care of the players. You're supposed to lead them. You're supposed to direct them. You're supposed to make them better young women. You're like, that positive you're speaking of is like built into the job. So when you get negative stuff and it's misconduct or bullying or harassment, that's out of the ordinary, so that resonates more with the public. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want this positive twist on things, but like all the positive stuff is your day-to-day life. You're supposed to be a positive influence on the girls you're coaching. And if there's any negative influence, then you should probably check that, and somebody should check that. That's the way I sort of view it.
I'm gonna go such a different direction on this. Could you imagine like being one of her players or her husband or her child? Like, she is an intense human being.
That's what I'm saying.
Intense human being. And side note on that, her son actually plays for the Redbirds.
Kramer Robertson. Yeah.
Oh, Kramer Robertson. Yeah. So just if you didn't know that, there you go. Little Memphis connection there. But yeah, she is. Whew, boy, is she something?
She's a lot to handle, brother.
She's a lot. She's a lot. And
which doesn't make her inherently a bad person or anything like that. But there are very clear stories that I think that are out there. 2013.
2013, the Brittany Griner story. I'm not going to act like I don't remember that. Of course I remember that. Brittany Griner said she didn't allow me to be openly lesbian because she thought it would hurt recruiting. She made Brittany Griner wear long sleeve shirts because she had tattoos because she thought that would hurt recruiting. It's like, let this woman be her damn self. And then the Russian she was in Russian prison for 10 months. And they asked him, Mulkey, to comment on it. And she's like, nope, not commenting on it. I'm like, this Brittany Griner won you a national championship, was a 4-time unanimous All-American, was like a defensive player of the year 3 times running, was a player of the year in general 2 times, I think, in her last 2 years. And she gave you she gave you 4 years of great work in your program at Baylor and got you a natty. And that's ultimately a big reason why you're at LSU and you're the type of persona you are now. And you can't even say that it's bad that she's locked up for 10 freaking months at a damn gulag. Like, what are we doing here? And then she comes back after those 10 months, and it's been reported that they haven't even said words to each other. They haven't exchanged words with each other.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why she tries to act like there needs to be a positive spin on everything. It's like, we don't have to look far to find how you treat your players.
Right.
And the personality you have.
But it works. She's a hell of a coach.
Sure. I mean, but that's not the point of the discussion we're having.
No, it's not. But I'm just saying, we can say all these things about her, but hell of a coach. 3-time coach.
The other part of this
86% career winning percent. She put up.
So was Bob Huggins. So was Bob Huggins.
Yes.
So was Bob Huggins.
Hey! I'm just presenting the fact.
Here's the other part of it. You took media law at the University of Memphis, just like I did.
Yeah.
She said she hired the best defamation law firm in the country to fight against it. And I just, that made me laugh because I'm like, do you get how defamation and libel law works? Like, do you get that in the slightest? Like, if good news organizations are going to review something until it's bulletproof.
Right.
And then 2, libel for public figures, you have to literally, there's 2 things that have to be true. You have to knowingly, as a journalist, lie. Like, completely fabricate something.
Yeah.
And 2, that fabrication has to have malice behind it.
Right.
And how are you going to prove those damn things? Because in the end of the day, this journalist probably got some disgruntled players together. Let me speculate, right? Get disgruntled players together and they tell their side of the story, right? Let's just say that's what the story is. Those disgruntled players aren't lying and they're not fabricating quotes. So what are you going to do? Even if you have well, no, they're not fabricating quotes. These quotes are going to be checked and sourced by all the people she played. So they're true quotes. You know what I mean? So in the end of the day, she's like, I don't care how highly paid your law firm is for defamation. If the Washington Post posts what I think they're going to post, you're not going to win a case against them. It's just not going to happen. There's a clear misunderstanding of how this whole thing works.
as somebody who has been personally threatened with defamation, slander, and libel lawsuits over the years, and then as a company with one of those lawsuits not long ago, my first reaction when I hear say we're going to sue you for defamation is, ooh,
Yeah, exactly.
That's scary, man.
You know how damn hard that is,
bro.
It's so hard. And honestly, if it's a journalistic situation like this, that journalist would have to be literally lying about every step of the story that they're writing. They'd have to lie about everything. They'd have to fabricate everything. And that's not going to happen at the Washington freaking Post. I hate to inform you,
because here's what
the
a lot
Washington
of folks,
Post is a very well respected. It's a very well respected journalistic company. It's a very well respected company. But I do think it's funny how she's taken like the political approach. Like that's what we do in politics now. It's like, if you don't like the story, just attack the media as hard as possible. That's she's just using that playbook. And hey, it'll rile up
for this reason.
It'll rile up her fan base to continue to support her, and then the others will be on the other side of that thing. That's just how our society is at this point. If you don't like what's being said about you, blame the media.
It's fair. All right. Well, after that discussion, let's wrap it up. We appreciate you guys for joining us this week. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you can do the same there. Once again, we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.